Hello and welcome to the Soul of Dubai podcast. Today we have a remarkable woman on our show. Her name is Fatima Abdulrahman, and what she does is she's a visual artist and a cultural curator, and her story truly connects the past, the present, and the future in arts and culture in Dubai. Fatima, thank you so much for being here with us today. We really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure, to be honest, and thanks for having me.
I would like to really bring forward, this is your story. Tell us about your history in Dubai. Who are you and what are you doing here?
So basically, my name is Fatima, as you mentioned. I'm a visual artist. I have a passion for photography, and I just love creating content when it comes to combining the cultural aspect of Dubai. I grew up in a family that supports everything that is related to arts. I had my uncle, he was one of the oldest photographers here in Dubai, and he had his own studio. It was located in the old part of Dubai, which is in Dora, and to be honest, ever since I was a kid, he always made sure that all the moments that we shared, if it was during my graduation or weddings or birthday parties, he would always have a photographer over there to capture those moments. So I think I loved that concept of capturing moments and making sure that we have that memory lasting with us whenever we wanted to go back to it.
And was your uncle your only inspiration, or because you mentioned that your family has a history in visual art and supporting the arts, was there anyone else that was a hero or a mentor to you?
To be honest, I was brought up in a family that expresses their emotions when it comes to art. I have also my aunt. She impacted me a lot ever since I was a kid, because I do remember whenever I used to come back from school, I would see her in her room, and she would always be painting stuff, and she always liked to learn a new skill. I remember as well, she used to take those courses of jewelry making.
Oh, wow.
And I love the fact that she used to include me in whatever thing that she used to learn. So she would call me, she would tell me, do you have any exams coming up? I'm like, no, I'm free, my schedule is actually okay. She would tell me, come, I want to teach you what I learned today in this course. And to be honest, now at this age, I look back and notice that all the things that I have learned ever since I was a kid, I kind of linked it all together now with the photos and the art that I create right now.
Did you notice now that you were combining your aunt's sort of love for art and your uncle's photography? Did you notice that happening throughout your life, or did this only happen now as you were developing your art in your older, as you're older?
So funny thing, I was literally looking, because I am participating in another art exhibition, and I was just taking a look at all the photos and the videos that I was creating in the past couple of months, and I noticed that there is a common factor that is actually reflected in all the different pieces that I create. If it was just a photograph that I have captured, or if it was an art piece or a painting. And I noticed that the love I had for capturing moments, and that was the impact that my uncle had on me, and painting and mixing colors together, adding all that into the line art that I actually also include in all the photos. I noticed that goes long back to when I was a kid.
So it's always been there.
Yeah.
And you just noticed it now?
So I saw the impact of my uncle, my aunt, my grandmother as well. I also go back in some of the days when I was a kid, and I used to come back from school and I used to see my grandmother sitting and knitting.
Oh, wow.
All those traditional outfits and stuff, and she used to do it for her sisters. And I just loved how my family expresses their love for art, if it was through paintings or photography or designing. So all that together contributed to the vision that I have right now when it comes to reflecting that into the art I create.
And tell us about the art that you create today, and how do you feel that because you're creating this art in Dubai, is that reflected in the work that you do at all? Does the city impact your work?
Of course.
How?
I love to reflect the cultural aspect when it comes to every single art piece that I create. I participated in Sikka.
Congratulations.
As well. Thank you so much. To be honest, it was such an emotional installation that I have created as well, because after my uncle passed away, I kind of wanted to continue the legacy. We had to close the studio down.
Oh.
So I wanted people to come and to actually capture that feeling that I had when I used to visit his studio. He used to sit next to the door, having conversations with people that had other businesses around from different nationalities. And that's what I loved the most, that he used to use his passion and what he likes to do into getting to know people, socializing, and all that actually reflected the type of photos that he created.
Yeah.
So I remember before we actually closed down the studio, I went and I paid the studio a visit, and I just wanted to capture everything that was actually there.
Yes.
And his office was on the second floor. So I went there once, and I was sitting there, and then I started like keeping notes of every single item that was there on his desk, that was hung in the studio. And then when I went to the studio, I noticed one thing. Nothing changed in that studio for the past 30 years.
So this studio in the heart of Dubai.
It was like a time capsule for me. I went back to the 70s. And I noticed that that the photos that were taken of people, and they were hung actually in the studio. Do you know those like vintage old kind studios that you have all the photos actually placed in the studio itself?
They're my favorite. They're my favorite. Every single piece feels like memories, someone's memories.
So one element that I noticed there, and the moment I saw it, I was like, I'm building my art installation based on that, which was the jackets that were worn by people that had their pictures taken in the studio itself. It was a thing that combined the photo, the photographer, and the person that was having his picture taken. And the whole installation, to be honest, at Sikka was that I took those jackets as a symbol of your forever lasting moment in photo flash.
Yes.
So they were hung from the ceiling. There was also a video that I have created as well that captures all the different areas of the studio. And there was a mirror that was actually placed in front of the jacket. So you would come in, you would take a photo with your phone, and then I would tell you that this is your forever lasting moment at Photo Flash.
Oh, how wonderful. And so this experience of you truly combining your family's history, being so open and honest and sharing that history with the world through Sikka, how do you feel today, now that you're looking back at it now, how do you feel today about the installation and what it represents for you?
To be honest, I fully appreciate the support that I got as well to take part in this exhibition, because to be honest, the location itself, because it was like 10 minutes away from my uncle's studio, I made sure that I wanted the first exhibition to feature the art piece to be somewhere close by.
Yeah.
And the moment I told them about the concept and all, they were fully supportive of it, and I'm so thankful that they gave me the opportunity to take part in it.
And we're thankful that you've shared it. You've shared
you so much.
You know, your heart and home with everybody. And so can you tell me, where do you go when you're looking for the soul of Dubai? Where does Fatima go if you're looking for the soul of the city?
You know how it is when you're living in Dubai. It's very hectic, and it's a fast-moving city.
Yes.
So you need to be fully aware about everything that is happening, moving, and you're always on the go. To be honest, for Fatima, I always like to visit the old places.
Yes.
In Dubai.
Can you list some of them for the people who are listening?
Like the Gold Souk is one of my favorite places, not because I want to go shopping. It's just the amount of people that are over there, the different nationalities. You would go there and you would definitely have a conversation with a stranger, and that would leave a small impact on you, and it would leave you with a smile, to be honest. And as a photographer as well, I just love capturing the heritage area when it comes to Dubai. If it was in the Gold Souk, if it was in other places in Dubai, it could be as simple as an old restaurant that has been there for 50 years, or a cafe, or a place that you can also have karak with a group of friends. It's different when you visit these areas, especially that it takes you back to a point in time where everything was just so simple. And it balances off your day. You know, you have the daily routine that you have to go with, and then you have the part where you were actually just enjoying the simplicity of everything around you.
You know, the balance of everything is really art. For me, is therapy. And I think for a lot of people who are watching or listening, where is your therapy? Where do you find therapy in this city?
Do I have to pick one?
No. I think it will help as many people if you give as many solutions as possible.
So basically, it depends on my mood, actually. You know, when you're like on a journey to create something, there's a specific mood that you need to be in. If I wanted to have a conversation with someone that is fully experienced or in the art industry, you would see me, for example, at Circle. And I love the fact that it's more of a community as well over there, that you would end up just walking around with no plans, and you would see someone just smiling or working on something, and you would walk up to them and you would ask them, oh, so what are you doing? And then they would give you the full brief. That, for me, is very therapeutic, to be honest, because when you're like associated or like you are around people that into the art industry, they reflect you in a different way. Even if you were having like a very busy day that you don't even have time to do anything, but then the moment you sit there and you just have like those 2 minutes talking to a complete stranger, seeing his point of view, that gives you ideas. And so it basically depends on what am I trying to capture when it comes to my personal feelings at that point of time. Sometimes it's as simple as going back to a coffee shop or a cafeteria that I used to visit as a kid. There are specific places in Dubai that whenever I feel like I am longing to going back to, I would go to that specific place, and it's sort of like reflects a different energy on me. And basically, I can't name one. It depends on the mood that I am in. If it was something that is related to like a time and place in my childhood, you would see me going to that cafeteria or that specific shop. Or that specific neighborhood as well. So all that contributes in the feeling that I have.
And healing, I guess.
Exactly.
And healing.
Definitely.
And so can you tell us, because I know a lot of people are curious, what was your childhood like in Dubai? What was it like growing up here? Because we know Dubai as a very specific, you know, metropolis, a metropolitan city where things are fast moving. But you know a different Dubai. What was growing up here like?
I had a very simple childhood, I would say. But the thing that I am pretty much very grateful for is my family and my friends. Because as an extrovert, you need to be around people that share the same vibe and energy, you know? So I used to love the fact that my dad was a family person, and every other weekend you would see him gathering us up and taking us on road trips. Like my childhood basically was pretty much that every other weekend we would visit a specific hidden gem here in the UAE. And this is how I developed the love of just hitting the road. Even if I didn't have any plan, even if I didn't have an idea of where do I want to go, you would always see me like getting into the car, calling one of my friends, whoever is available, they would join me and we would definitely hit the road somewhere. Just the idea of listening to music and the scenery that you have here. If it was like you driving the road to Hatta or to Ras Al Khaimah or to Abu Dhabi, to be honest, the scenery also gives you that sense of healing, I would say, especially when you're listening to the right song at the right moment with the right people.
When it hits, when the right song hits and the right scenery and you're with your friends, that for me is a core memory. It makes everything perfect. whatever it is. So it sounds like you had a wonderful childhood from the sounds of it.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm pretty grateful for it, to be honest, and I'm pretty grateful for my family because they impacted me a lot when it comes to my journey as an artist, when it comes to the journey of me discovering and loving the adventurous part of what you can do here in the UAE as well. And pretty much the continuous journey of learning. Like it never stops at a specific skill or the passion for a certain thing. There's always something that you can learn here in Dubai. Every other day there is something. There's a thing that you can actually try.
Yeah.
If it was from extreme sports to learning how to paint with sand so it's very diversified and I love it.
Yeah.
So the journey when it comes to the artistic field never stops. There's always people traveling to Dubai to learn something or to teach something. So that's the thing that I love to emphasize a lot about when it comes to Dubai.
I think it's wonderful. And so if the journey is always, the journey for learning is never ending.
Exactly.
What does the future look like for you? Because it's clear that you love learning and art and visual art and, you know, all the culture that you engage with. It matters to you so much. So how do you envision the future for Fatima? What does it look like?
I just hope that I always find something that can keep my passion going. And I don't fear that happening because of all the things that I've just mentioned. And pretty much that's the thing that's the advice that I would give Fatima.
Yeah.
Especially that I had a conversation with a friend yesterday, and we were friends since uni.
Oh, wow.
And I was asking her a question. I was like, because she's an artist as well. And then I asked her, did you ever imagine that 10 years later we would be doing what we are doing now? Because we were trying everything.
Yeah.
We were volunteering to clean the beaches. We were volunteering to do all sorts of different stuff, but we never knew what we actually wanted to do. But one way or another, the passion that we had for art and creating content, that led from one thing to the other. And the only thing that we were like talking about and we mentioned was like, we should never stop. We should always seek what feeds off our passion.
And on that wonderful note, thank you so much for being a part of our podcast. We really appreciate your time. And thank you from all of us for sharing your family's history and heritage. I really appreciate it, and everybody does.
It's my absolute pleasure. Thank you again for having me. And this was something that I really appreciate you guys trying to shed the light on the artists here in Dubai. So again, thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Soul of Dubai podcast. Please stay tuned for the next episode, which you can find on all podcast platforms and on YouTube at Dubai Cultures.